Hello and welcome back to Strawman Gaming. This is Kerbal Space Program and we are continuing our journey into the stars. Let's just keep on building. Having said that, let's immediately not do that and go have another look at the administration building. Okay, so these are green now. Takes 5% reputation gains, yields that many funds for each 1 unit of reputation. I don't know if that's good. See, for 1% reputation gains, we can get 1,000. For 25% reputation gains, we can get 1,065. That just feels... that just doesn't scale well. If it takes all my reputation, it gets me 25% more funds. So I feel like commitment of 1% is probably the best return on investment for this. Yeah, do it. We can only have one active at a time. I probably should have checked out the others first, but we've done that now. What else can we look at? Tracking station doesn't need upgrading yet, so let's go back to vehicle assembly. Delete that. So, what are we trying to do? Have we got any objectives? We completed everything the last time, so we need to go and get some more. So, orbit. Orbit's always the goal. Everything in this starts with an orbit. Ferry 3 tourists safe to the destination and back. What's the destination? Try and... Suborbital... Oh, okay, it's down here. Sorry. Suborbital spaceflight on Kerbal. Incomplete. That shouldn't be that hard, but I don't really want to do it. Side booster and flight. Hamilton. No. These all seem quite irritating. So I have to test it between... So I have to get it up very high and then activate it at quite a narrow band of speeds. Radial mount parachute. So I can just use them. I think I've got them. Well, we'll try that. No, we won't, because apparently we have 2 active. Orbit Kerbal. Oh, because we took off with... yeah, solid fuel boosters instead. So that's my bad. That one might be there for a while because we're going to attempt orbit. What was the... Don't save. Just need to check what kind of parachute it is. Maybe I can access that from in the build station. Oh, I didn't take the parachute because of the engine. I just said that. That's very close. Can we zoom out? How do we... Nope, this is our life now. Ah, click and drag middle button. So I can use whatever parachute I want. So I'm just going to use... Still try click and drag. Use the middle... the normal one. So this is going to be our engine for when we get outside the atmosphere. Am I immediately going to make the mistake I said I wouldn't make? I shouldn't do that. So we need a heat shield, of course. Thermal. Okay, so he's protected. And a decoupler, because I don't want the fuel tank exploding beneath him. Oh, we've got radials. That'll help us get a little bit of thrust off the launch pad. There we go. I'm just trying to think, because I know I said that the more you add to the top stage, the more you have to add to the bottom to get it up there, but I don't want to get to... Because this stage... ideally won't fire until we're at our apoapsis, our highest point, and then it's only to circularize and then bring us back to Earth. probably am gonna... No, we'll just do one. Let's do one and see how it goes. It's okay to not have that many. And then a decoupler. And then more fuel tanks. So this is a... Oh, I missed. I'm gonna use 3. That doesn't feel that unreasonable. Something you can do later is you can have like, so you had 3 sets of these. You have the ones on the outside set to burn fuel and drain to the middle one, so you can have 3 engines. But when the outer ones decouple, this is still full. It's called I always call it asparagus staging, but I think it's asparagus staging that allows that to work. And which one has best thrust? So one has more, but it will uses 7 fuel per second. So that one does seem better because it only uses slightly more fuel, but it's significantly more powerful. And I think it has. Does it have gimbaling? I don't know. But in any case, we're not going to worry about that. We are going to put some... These winglets are pretty big. So let's go with the basic fan. I don't see any reason not to for the time being. Actually, before we do that, let's... Radial decoupler, 2 of... About... Well, we're going to turn to the east. So we stick these here. Get our engines. Some of these big thumpers. Should be okay. And then some aerodynamics. Doesn't need it. So the thumpers fire. They decouple. This engine fires. It decouples. The little engine fires. It decouples, and then the parachute. It looks like it should get us to orbit, but I meant the thumpers, these solid rocket boosters, they give... It's a weird distinction. They give a lot of thrust, but don't give a lot of delta V. So they might only get us to like 500 meters per second, so it's only 500 delta V. Whereas this engine could give us 2,000, and it's tiny. But that's because it's doing it when the craft's a lot lighter, and there's no atmosphere getting in the way. Is there anything we haven't tested in orbit? Well, we've never been to orbit, so let's take one of every science. I don't think we need landing struts. Just one off, please. Was this a sensible way to build this? Yes, it was, because we're going that way. So I guess we want to put some stuff that's going to create drag on. Let's put 2 on this side and 1 on the other side. So we'll put these 2 here. This is really what I should use a service bay for, isn't it? Nah, we'll risk it until it explodes. So let's hope this has got enough delta V to get into space and to get back. We're going to save it. Orbiter 1. Save. Launch. Okay, seems okay. Let's set my liquid engine to maximum thrust. I haven't checked the thrust to weight ratio, which I really should do, but I don't know, this kind of looks like a rocket. Well, it's not too terrifyingly fast, so I'm okay with it. Oh. I should have turned SAS on much sooner, because we're kind of going a little bit off course here. It's okay, once the solid rocket boosters go, I think we get... I've got a bad feeling about this flight already. I'm kind of holding on there. I never added the fins. Getting a lot of atmospheric effects here. Go to that. Okay, should have been a little bit more careful about that. But we're off. Just a thrust. Okay. And we can start actually trying to maneuver ourselves because we're very, very high in the atmosphere. Let's just this thrust right down. How are we doing? Apparatus 53. So we want to get this to probably. I mean, we should be going around the equator, but I kind of went wrong because I didn't have fins and I didn't fly it very well. But these are all just excuses. So we want to, at this point, basically just go along our prograde and just keep burning. Is our apparatus still climbing? Yes, it is. So we just wait and let it do its thing. I always go to internal view and I don't know how to get back out of it, so I'm kind of afraid to do that. I was talking earlier about antennas, or in the last episode, sorry, and so this is our signal strength to Kerbal Space Center is 100% because it's only there, and that's indicated by this green arrow. And there's relay stations all over the planet, so whatever side you're on, you can talk to it. But if you go into deep space, you have to add relays or better antennas. How high are we going? So we're still climbing. See, the music's changed. I think that says we're... Yeah, we're in orbit now. So... let's get this to 100. Let's do a quick full burn. And then cut it, and we'll wait until apoapsis. But until that point, let's do some science. So, mystery go. The using instrument... That's not very good. We must have already done that. Can I get rid of that? Reset experiment. Let's check these. Low pressure data. No science. Okay, so maybe I don't know. We'll see what we can do. Let's see how high we get. Could you? Once we level up Jebediah Kerman a bit, you can add flight controls here, and he can lock to prograde. So he will always face towards the direction that the rocket is traveling in, which sounds weird, but there's no atmosphere here, so there's no force making us travel. Turn SAS off because it's fighting against me. I'm gonna turn it back on and off, and there. Stay there, please, please stay. And we are just coming from apparatus. I kind of align with the horizon, and we want to go for full burn to try and circularize ourselves. And we will run out of fuel very soon, and the craft will get a lot more responsive, because at the minute, well, the engine's running. I don't think it can gimbal, but at the minute we're being controlled purely by reaction wheels in the... check that. In the command module. So... full burn. How are we doing? See, we're very close to orbit already. Oh, I pressed space. I'm really annoyed. But, as long as we keep accelerating, we'll stay attached. But we've got no way to decelerate. So if I reduce the engines, even slightly, Oh no, I stay attached. Oh, it's because I can't reduce the engine because it's no longer attached to us. So this is just going to propel us into deep space. I'm going to revert this flight because that's a mistake. There we go. We have circularized, and our engine's going to keep burning until it propels us. How far is it going to propel us? This will be a good indicator. I know we're not orbiting in the correct plane to reach the moon, but if we look at this, it'll show us just how much delta V we need to get to the moon. So it starts to go pretty rapidly at this point. Sets us out past Minmus, and that's our shot into deep space. Maybe I can, like... But at least it's a good proof of concept. This rocket, by the looks of it, can take us to the moon. But there's a few kind of tweaks we need to apply. There we go. So we've run out, and our final velocity is almost 4,000 meters per second. I'm kind of just out of morbid fascination. I just want to... I will revert this, because I will lose Jebediah Kerman. Yes, where's this going to take us to? So I can't see us encountering any planets. No, Kerbin's going too fast. We might at some point re-encounter Kerbin. So it's almost tempting to just leave him here orbiting, but it'd probably take 1,000 years for the orbits to sync up again. If the orbits were just right, maybe at this point... Well, actually, how... Yeah, it's not very close at all. I was going to say maybe he could get like an encounter and sucked into the Duna orbit. But no, not really. And as you can see, that there's no signal strength. We are too far away from Kerbin to have any sort of signal. Eve's a possibility, but again, I think it is very far. Yeah, we're not close to anything. We are just drifting in space forever. All because I pressed the space bar. Oh, where'd our rocket friend go? So I'm going to have to revert flight to vehicle assembly. And I hate to do that, and people hate when I do that, I know. But it was just... It was going so well that I just don't want to kind of ruin it just out of pressing space. Get rid of these. They're not teaching us anything anymore. It's cold in space, or very hot in space, depending. And then we want aero, basic fins. So, a couple of these. Maybe 4 of these? 3, 4? It doesn't really know what it's doing. I certainly don't. Put one there. And one there. So that should keep us a little bit straighter, I think. It's very positive music, so I'm feeling good about this. And not abandoning Jebediah to the cold, vast space. You good? Right, let's throttle up our engine, even though we don't need it that high. So it's, you can see it changing here. Set to about half. SAS on. Do you think we got too much thrust too early? Because we were fighting the atmosphere very kind of hard. So let's revert flight to vehicle assembly and let's throttle these back. No, stop this. You thrust limiter, let's say to about 70. So that will make us obviously take off more slowly, but we were taking off a little bit too quickly, I think. You do get red atmosphere effects if you go way too fast, but checking staging because I don't trust past me. SAS on. Engine thrust down to about half. I was like, well, was that too slow? I think that's fine. I think it's good. I think you start a gravity turn at about... Because the earlier you start it in the atmosphere, the more likely you are to flip round. So I'm going to go straight vertical for about 1,500 meters. And then just start to... I don't want to go outside my prograde marker. Twisting slightly, because these fins are asymmetric, I think. Gravity turning very slowly. But you know, as they say in rocketry, slow is safe. I don't think they do say that, but... And let's go to them. Collide into one another. And then we've got much more. We are not accelerating anymore. There we go. Bump that up a little bit. Okay, I'll wait till we're in the upper atmosphere and I'll turn SAS off because that'll give us a little bit more control authority. Accelerate a little bit more. Okay. Turning SAS off. We've got fins, so we should be relatively stable in this admittedly very thin atmosphere up here. Thrust up a little bit. Almost got away from me a bit there, because even though we're very high, the atmosphere does still have like significant effects. Okay, I'm willing to let SAS just do its thing from here. It's our apoapsis. Oh, very how do I cut X? So that'll take us up to 113,000, which should be plenty of height, and it's still got a little bit of fuel to circularize with. Because it's confusing, because when you stage, you press space, and that will activate this decoupler, but it won't activate this engine because they're on different stages. So pressing space jumps you to this, and then that to that. So it's frightening to decouple, and then now you have to press space again, especially because pressing it one more time, well, ejects you into the vacuum of space, as we've seen. We've got a little bit of time. Let's have a look at what. Did I just press EVA? I did, but he didn't do it. It's good for you for not listening to me. This is what Jebediah sees. Excuse me. Turn to open. And you can fly it from in here. All these dials are showing the correct things, so that is our vertical speed, and that over there is, I assume, our height, because it's going up, and this is our radar altitude for when we're going into land on like the moon. It'll tell us how high we are, because our altimeter just tells us how high we are above sea level effectively, but this is firing downwards, saying how much clearance you have. It's our nav ball, which I'm trying to get in line with our prograde marker, but it is fighting me because the engine's not burning. If we go along our prograde properly, when it hits the horizon, should be us at our apoapsis. Roughly. How do I get out of this view? I don't know. Docking mode, toggle map. Escape doesn't do it. V? Yes, V. Okay, well now we know. we are coming up on our, we've just passed our apparatus, and we are gonna go for a full burn. This should be a fairly good and circular orbit actually, because we are bang on the 90. Because when you launch and go due east, we should be going straight around the equator. Space, get rid of it. Space, thrust. Okay, so now we are just circularizing, and I can do little fine adjustments from here. But you know, you're in orbit when your apparatus from the other side of the planet, which I can't see, will emerge. So it says, I think it says PP. That's all the grown-ups about it. And that is our periapsis, which is our lowest point in our orbit. And when they go to switch places, that tells you that you have achieved circular orbit. Here it comes. Apparatus is starting to move away. And when that goes to switch with the... Oh, it says PE, periapsis, because of obviously... And see, because we burnt slightly after apoapsis, we aren't in a circular orbit, because, you know, this bit's closer than this bit, and we're slightly off center, so we can... How high is this? So that's still slightly within the atmosphere, I think, so I'll speed up a bit. Take this until it's at 100. And stop. Okay, how much fuel have we got? Should be enough to slow down. So we have orbited Kerbal. It's got 31. It's not that many. It's not that many money. Is what I was going to say. It's not that many space Kerbal bucks. I really need to learn what these are called. Okay, orbit Kerbal. Oh, so that gives us more. That's good. You have splashed into the ocean. You have broken land distance record. You have entered orbit. All good stuff. But we still haven't tested this at the launch site, so we should just do a launch with that rocket to test that. You know, go up 1,000 meters, and then just open a parachute. That's all you need to do. It's just a test. Or you can literally, you can probably just tap it, just press, like, set it to like almost no thrust, press space, and then press X to cut it, and that would count. So we might just do that as well. So will this tell me what this is called? No. So I kind of want to circularize properly, which you have to do from the apoapsis, but I don't want to get stuck here. Well, we've got loads of fuel. These are famous, stupid. And if it gets stuck here, we can always launch another mission later to rescue him. So are we along our prograde or retrograde? We are along our retrograde. See how responsive the ship is now that it's much smaller. I said before that it's powered by reaction wheels, and reaction wheels are big spinning wheels spanned by motors that create a torquing force when they spin, but they don't work the way they're used here because it's I think there's 3, like 1 for each axis. And what they're used for is, like, if you imagine this had, I didn't start my timer, but that's okay. If this had, what are they called? Like solar panels. If you had one sticking out here, as the solar wind hits that, it's going to push it into the monitor. Or let's say it's flying like this, and, you know, this and the solar wind is coming in from the top of the screen. The solar wind will probably catch this more than it'll catch this, so that'll want to make this move downwards. A reaction wheel will start spinning to oppose that twisting force created by the solar wind. It's just a way to hold things in place. But the problem is they have to continuously spin. They can't just spin up a bit and then stop, because if you decelerated them, all that does, the angular momentum from the wheel gets transferred back into the spaceship, so it'll just make it spin in the opposite direction anyway. So what you have to do is when they it's called saturation, when they've spun up completely, you have to burn thrusters to counteract the torque that it creates when you decelerate them and then you can go from 0. They're stationary until they start needing to work again. In this, they're just like you can use them to turn yourself. And there are thrusters later, RCS, or like monopropellant thrusters. They might be the same thing. But we haven't got them yet. When we upgrade our tracking station, we can begin to like warp to Apoapsis or warp to here. But let's line this up and go for a completely pointless circularization burn. And they'll begin to switch. There. Okay, so that's a pretty solid. I mean, if you compare it to the plane of the moon, you know, we are very, very level. We're very flat. We're very circular. This is a, if I do say myself, this is a high quality orbit. And we have roughly half a tank of fuel left. So let's do some orbits just for the sake of doing them. And then we want to... I don't know if there's a more efficient way to do this, but I don't think there is. Because a lot of people will see this and like they want to go to the planet, so they will just point their nose towards the planet and accelerate. And I kind of want to show you why you shouldn't do that. So this is our, I think it's called our normal. I'm going to save and show you why that doesn't work. Save game. Demonstration. So here we are. We want to, you know, you're in space and you think, I want to go to this planet. I'm just going to accelerate towards it. And let's do this from our map. So this is our orbit. So let's go to full thrust. And as you can see, because our speed overall is increasing, because we have speed in this direction and we're adding speed in this direction, that combines to a speed in this direction. So what it does is accelerate us, and it's actually raising our apoapsis. If we do this indefinitely, this will eventually come down to within the atmosphere of the planet, and then eventually intersect with the surface. And it would get you home, but you'd be going a lot faster than you need to be. And if we... Okay, so that's going to skim the atmosphere there. Yeah, so you think, oh, I'll just fly towards the planet, and what you've actually done is, and if you watch Northern Lions series on Kerbal Space Program, he did this a lot. It's like, I want to go home, I'll go that way. And if you did it from higher, you just fling yourself into deep space. You create an escape trajectory because you powered toward the planet, and it doesn't work that way. And especially in real life, where you have much more limited fuel, like this is very much, you know, oh, well, fuel is much more readily available than it is in real space travel. So we're going to reload our save demonstration. And we're going to line up on our retrograde marker. As you can see, there should be a planet here somewhere. That is our prograde marker. This is our retrograde. And we'll go to this, and we'll go top down. We will burn, and you just see immediately our periapsis starts to fall. And as soon as this, well, basically as soon as this comes in contact with the atmosphere, we can stop it, but we'll burn it to there. Let's see, we're gonna, ooh, could land in this crater. But yeah, that used 1/10 the fuel that flying directly towards the planet would, and we're going. How do I keep losing an entire planet? There it is. We're going much slower than we would have been, and we're going to encounter the atmosphere much slower than we would have done if we'd burned directly towards it. And that's good, because the slower we're going, the less we'll heat up and the less likely we are to explode. And we should be fine. This seems like an entirely reasonable return trajectory. So I'm gonna turn. What do I want to do here? I want to get rid of my engine. So I'll turn towards the do I turn towards or away from the planet? I'm just going to eject it. There we go. It's fine. Yeah, it's going that way. I mean, it's also... It's still following this trajectory. It's just following it while drifting. It's got maybe 5 meters per second velocity in this direction, so it would have a very slightly different orbit. So it will stay with us. Whether the game will just continue to render it or not, once it gets a certain distance away, is the problem. But now it is just our core. Now we need to align along our retrograde and hold it there. How are we doing for... Because it does take power to turn your reaction wheels. So we should be... And I haven't put any solar panels on this, so if I use it all before we start to re-enter, then the craft will just enter the atmosphere whatever angle it encounters it. It should normally flip round to be like this, but it might not. I can always reduce, because it is very sensitive, so I'll reduce the... Can I not? Reduce the authority of the... Maybe I can't do it in flight. I appear to have broken my reaction wheels, and now the pod is not responding at all. Please. Uh-oh. So we're going to have to trust what I said about... Well, actually, we're going to land almost completely side on. Why aren't you working? What have I done? We've got electric charge. Yeah, this is going to be bad. Well, let's find out what happens when we land almost entirely upside down. What's this? I don't know. It made the frame rate skip though. Nope, it is not responding. Reaction wheels, please. Turn SAS? Okay, so I can't even... Can I do anything? Okay, so I can do that. Is it because I'm in sped up mode? Is that... Yep, that is the problem. You can't steer when you're in sped up mode. I apologise for anyone that knew that. I've just been screaming it at the screen. But I did not know that, but now I do. So it's still going very fast. But we are coming in very gently, so we should encounter the atmosphere gradually, and it should slow us down, hopefully. Well, it will slow us down. You know, we will come to a stop at some point. It's whether it does it in such a way that benefits us or destroys us. And if we're going to be doing this, we should keep an eye on our heat shield. Pin that up there. See, remember when we encounter... Ooh, very red. Keep it along our retrograde. The music stops to really build up the tension surrounding this. As long as the ablator doesn't get to 0, it should be fine. And just take a little bit of power to use SAS. So you see power's ticking down very slightly. It used to be a lot worse in earlier builds. Remember, this game has been in development for 10,000 years in early access. So I don't know what this little bar means. I assume you don't want it to reach full or empty. I think what exploded there was our engine that we jettisoned. Well, he's loving it. Those fire effects though. They did just look better than that, so I wonder if I've not enabled the correct setting. And there are lots of mods for this game to make it look better and improve the water effects and sky effects and atmosphere effects and stuff. But yeah, we decelerated to avoid through the atmosphere with only using what 22 of our potential ablation from the heat shield. So that is very fine. That's not even a risk as far as I'm concerned. And since we're here, might as well just speed this up a little bit. I'll activate my chute at 5,000. It'll pull at 1,000, and then we'll coast down. A lovely splash shield. You can jettison the heat shield, and I think it reduces your speed even further. I've never done it though. Yeah, so we are lighter now, so our parachute works even more effectively, which in hindsight was probably a mistake because you have to wait even longer. But 4 times. Oh, it's still super slow. Have another drink of orange juice. And I don't want to crash in at 4 times because I know the maths for the physics should scale properly, but I don't know if it does. So let's recover our vessel and see how we have done. I think because it's been in orbit, Jebediah will now have some pilot upgrades. He should have got some experience. We only got 10 science. That is not a lot. Some funds. Yeah, he is now advanced level 1. And it's now nighttime. Anyway, we have been to orbit and back. We have completed our goal of orbit Kerbin, and we have a rocket that seems pretty capable. With a few tweaks, I think it should be able to take us to the moon. And explore the moon. Yeah, we'll risk that. Well, that's what we'll do in the next episode. We'll try and get to the moon when we are woefully unprepared and underqualified to do such a thing, but here we are. Anyway, if you like this video, click that like button and tell me why you liked it down below in the comments. If you didn't like it, click that dislike button and tell me what you didn't like about it in the comments down below. I make new content every day. I've got my Dark Souls series at the minute, and this probably is going to be every day as well, or every second day, or at least periodically. So if you want to see more, hit that subscribe button. This has been Strawman Gaming. I'm your Strawman, and I will see you tomorrow.